So our aim is to determine the rigidity modulus of a given wire by using the torsional pendulum method. So let me know the operators, which are the operators required for this experiment. So we need a circular disc, and we need the suspension wire, stop clock, and as well as screw gauge and meter scale for this. Now coming to the experiment here, this is the actual disc what we are using. We should know the radius of this and as well as mass of the disc. So for our experiment, the radius of the disc, actually the diameter of this disc is around 16 centimeter, and the radius will comes under 8 centimeter, 8 into 10 power minus 2 if you convert it into meters. And the mass of the disc is around 1.58 kgs. We are using this disc. Now coming to this wire. So using this wire rigidity modulus only we are finding. The length of the wire is already measured. You should measure this. The length of the wire is around 27 centimeters, and it is fixed at the both end by using two check nuts. And the rigidity modulus of this wire we are finding. And we should know about the radius curvature of this disc by using the screw gauge. Okay. And coming to the next one, this is the stand what we are hanging the disc by using the wire, and this is the stop clock. So by using the stop clock, we will record the oscillations of the disc. Actually, all the oscillations are comes under simple harmonic motion. You know, simple harmonic motion, always it is repetitive and as well as a constant amplitude. Okay. So here, whatever the torsional oscillation we are giving here, this comes under damped oscillations. No damped oscillations, the time period and as well as amplitude decreases depending on the time, because it is comes under some kind of medium. As the medium is there, oscillation goes on decreases, and as well as time period of oscillation also goes on decreases. Now we have two modes of oscillations using this torsional pendulum. Look at this. So these are the two modes of oscillation. One is a perpendicular mode and other is a parallel mode. Perpendicular mode means the axis of rotation will be always going through the center of the disc, that is horizontal mode. And here the wire, axis of rotation, whatever the wire is there, it is passing through the diameter of the disc. This is called vertical mode and this is called perpendicular mode. So in both the modes we are finding the period of oscillations, and we will find out the moment of inertia. Now coming to the experiment. So through the experiment we are finding, look at this. So the formula to find this, we are finding the moment of inertia through the perpendicular mode, and we are finding the moment of inertia through the parallel mode. That is, axis passing through the center of the disc, we are finding the moment of inertia, and the axis passing through the parallel to the disc, that is through the diameter it is going. So through that also we are finding the moment of inertia. So for this one, moment of inertia is mr square divided by 2, where m is the mass of the disc and r is the radius of the disc, and here also it is mr square divided by 4. So both mass and as well as radius of the disc. And the rigidity modulus of the material of the wire we are finding through this eta. Eta is represented by the rigidity modulus of any wire, and here L represent, capital L represent the length of the wire, and R, small r represent the radius curvature of the wire, and here I represent the moment of inertia and T represents the time period of oscillation with respect to the mode, which mode we are using. Okay. Now coming to the experiment, first we need to connect the disc through one of the mode, either perpendicular mode or parallel mode. How to connect this? So you just take a wire, this wire it is already connected through the two check nuts. One of the check nut will be connected to the stand, that is a stable one, and it will not alter, and other check nut is connected to the disc in which mode you are connecting. Okay. So first I am connecting to a perpendicular mode, that is axis passing through the center of the disc like this. After connecting, we need to find out the period of oscillation for the particular mode. Yes. So you should take always a stable oscillations. Now look at this, the axis is exactly passing through the center of the disc like this. And you just make a one reference point to check out the oscillations. See here we have patched one sheet to take it as a reference point and give the oscillations. and the oscillation should not alter the axis. Okay, so slowly I am giving the oscillations like this without disturbing the axis. The axis should be always constant, it should not alter. So leave it for some time, that is 3 to 4 oscillations. So whenever you just take any one reference point, suppose if I am taking this as a reference point, here it is stopping, it should go and come back to the same position. That one I will count it as one oscillation. Suppose if I start now, it is going now and it is stopping somewhere, half oscillation. If it is coming back to the same position, means that is one oscillation. Okay, so through the timer we can start the oscillations. So here timer is there. See, suppose whenever it starts from here, I will start the stop clock. See, look at here. Yes, I started the stop clock. Now one. Yes, this is one oscillation. Like that 10 oscillation we should count. 2 oscillations. 3 oscillations. Like that, nearly 10 oscillations you should count. So 3 trials you have to do. So after getting the 3 trials, you should enter the values like this. For 10 oscillation, trial 1, what is the reading? And for 10 oscillation, what is the reading for trial 2? Like that, all the 3 trials you have to take and write the mean value of that, average of that particular time period of oscillation for 10, that is period of oscillation for 10 oscillations. Okay, so take the mean value and write it here. So this is for 10 oscillations. We are finding the time period for 10 oscillations and convert the 10 oscillation time to 1 oscillation. What is the time period for 1 oscillation? If you divide this one by 10, you will get the time period for 1 oscillation. Okay, so like that, you have to change the mode here and take the oscillation once again. Suppose I will take the example as this has some 80 or 85 seconds. See, I will write it this as 85 seconds and this is 87 or 86, like that. If you take the mean value, you will get 85 only. So if you divide this one by 10, you will get 8.5. Okay, so that is the time period for oscillation which is perpendicular to the axis. Okay, perpendicular to the disc, axis is passing through the center of the disc. And finally you have to find out the I by t square value. What is this I? I is the moment of inertia and t is the time period of oscillation. Moment of inertia for the perpendicular mode. So moment of inertia for the perpendicular mode, look at here. So this is for perpendicular mode, mr square divided by 2. You know the mass of the disc, it is 1.58 into radius is 8 into 10 power minus 2 whole square divided by 2. So this is the moment of inertia for the axis connected to the center of the disc. So you have to take this as a moment of inertia, then time period of oscillation of that particular mode, I by t square, and you have to write down here. Okay, so that is one mode of oscillation. For the second mode of oscillation, what you have to do? So remove the disc. So first remove the check nut and remove the disc and connect the disc in a parallel mode. That is, axis is passing through the center of the disc. So there will be a mode is there like this. You have to connect. So be careful with the disc, since the mass of the disc is 1.58 kg, means it is too heavy. So slowly you have to connect this in this mode. So what kind of mode it is? It is a parallel mode or a vertical mode. So here also you have to give the stable oscillations. So in the timer we have 2 modes is there, start and stop, and here reset button is there. For every oscillation you can change the time. Okay, you can reset the time and you can start a new experiment. Now here also give the slow oscillations and take any one side as a reference point. By using pencil you can mark any one side and give the oscillations. I will give slow oscillation without disturbing the axis, slowly like this. Okay, leave for some time so that it will take a stable oscillation any one side. So that there is a patch is there, you can take that side as a reference. So here I am standing, I am taking this as a reference. It should go and come back to the same position. So that is counted as one oscillation. Now I will start like this. Yes, half oscillation, and this is one oscillation. Got it? Like that, nearly 10 oscillation you should count this. For 10 oscillation, note down the value here for the diagonal mode or a vertical mode. So nearly, suppose this one around some 60 oscillations, and an average I am writing here. So for the trial one, if you are getting 60 oscillation means it will vary in between 2 to 3 seconds variations will be there. If you take the average value of this, you will get the mean value, and time period for one oscillation, that is divided by 10, you will get 6 seconds here. Okay, then I by t square you have to find out. I by t square means here once again the I value varies. That is moment of inertia for the diagonal mode, that is for parallel mode. It is mr square divided by 4, and this value will be different. Okay, so you can find out the value like this. It is 1.58 into 8 into 10 power minus 2 whole square divided by 4, and you will get the value almost this much, 25.28 into 10 power minus 4. This is for vertical mode. You have to take ID, this moment of inertia for vertical mode, and you have to divide that one with the time period of oscillation for the vertical mode. Okay, and finally whatever the I by t square value you are getting, so both are nearly same you will get. Whatever the value you are getting I by t square for both perpendicular mode and as well as parallel mode, it is nearly same, and take the average value and you can write here. See, mean of I by t square value you will get that to kg meter square per second square. Okay, so I by t square mean value you are taking and you are substituting in the formula. Look at this, we had a formula previous one, eta is 8 pi L divided by r power 4 into I by t square, where L represent the length of the wire, R represent the radius curvature of the wire. I by t square, you have taken the average of both perpendicular mode and as well as parallel mode. So just substitute this value. Only in your experiment you are doing only this I by t square. So since L is constant and R is constant, and substitute that one, you are getting the eta value, that is rigidity modulus of a wire. It is nearly, for a mild steel, it is a standard value 8 into 10 power 10 Newton per meter square. That is the standard value of the mild steel rigidity modulus. Okay, I hope you understood this experiment. Thank you very much.